Hey, Livia. Long time no see. How are you holding up? Life must be tough for you these days. I just had to call you because I found out how old you really are. Wow, I was blown away. Don't you ever freak out about your age? You should start looking for a coffin or something because you're practically dead already. How many pills do you need to swallow every day just to keep breathing?
Is this why you called me, Cindy? I don't know what to say to you. I was going to wish you all the best for your wedding day, by the way. I was surprised my brother proposed to you so soon after he got his job offer.
Well, he must have learned from your mistakes what not to be.
What do you mean by that, Cindy?
I mean that you're way past your prime and you're still single. You think he wanted to end up like you? I don't get you, Livia. How can you be so alone? I know you're obsessed with your work and that's all you care about, but don't you ever feel lonely? How can you live with yourself knowing that you have no one to love you or share your life with? It must be so depressing to be an old maid and come home to an empty house every night. I don't think I could ever do that.
I don't feel that way at all, if you must know. I'm perfectly fine with being single. I'm actually very happy with my life, and I don't feel the need to change anything. And what's the hurry to get married anyway? I never understood this craze for tying the knot so young. I mean, even my little brother John, who you're married to now, was always saying how much he wanted to get married as soon as he graduated. I don't see the point of rushing into something like that. It seems like it would be better to let it happen naturally.
What's the point of waiting any longer once you have a stable job? That's the next step in any adult life. First, you get a job, then you get married, then you have kids. So you see, you're way behind, you old hag.
Okay, Cindy, I don't know why you're making such a big deal about my age. You're 25 years old, aren't you? I can see why you would want to marry a young guy like my brother, but you do realize that he's still a student, right? He hasn't even started working yet.
So what if I'm 25 years old? It's about living in the moment, and I'm not going to waste my time like you. I don't want to end up like a dried up old prune like you. I don't know how you can stand yourself the way you are. It's just pathetic, really. Don't you have any dignity at all?
I think you're being very mean to me right now. I don't want to get married. I don't see the point of getting married so early, and I think those are reasonable opinions to have. If you're getting married because you love each other, then I'm happy for you, Cindy. I mean, I've talked to John about this, and he's still in shock that he's getting married so young. But as long as you're both happy, I have nothing against it.
You don't know what you're talking about at all. John was never nervous about marrying me. He was nervous about whether or not he was going to be offered a job or not. He knew that I wanted to quit mine and become a housewife. So he knew that his marriage wouldn't work unless he had a job first. And now I'm going to get married and live my dream life, especially compared to you. Now, I want to go and have to grind myself down to nothing for some company that doesn't care at all about me. Does that sound familiar, Livia? I'm really sorry if it does. I didn't need to touch a nerve. Maybe you should just have swallowed your pride and gotten married when you were younger, when you had a chance to.
Right. Well, I am glad that you and John are so sure about this wedding working out then. I suppose that I'll see you at the wedding itself then.
But why? Why do you have to be there? What are you planning to do at John and my wedding?
I don't get what you're trying to say. I told you, it's my little brother's wedding. I'm going there to celebrate with him and be with my family, to see him get married. Is that so hard to understand?
So you're really going to crash a wedding for young people and not feel ashamed of yourself? Even though you're so old and single? You know that everyone there is going to be in their 20s, right? You don't belong with that crowd. Livia, face it. You're already in your 30s. You won't get any of our jokes, and you'll whine that the music is too loud and that your back hurts. You'll be like an alien among us.
I know that most of you and John's friends are going to be younger than me, but I'm sure your families are also invited, right? So I'm going there as part of the family and to support my little brother, okay? I'm not going to the wedding to mingle with your friends or anything like that, if that's what you're afraid of. And besides, I don't care about how old anyone is there, because that's not what the wedding is about, right?
Of course that's what the wedding is about. How can you say it doesn't matter how old you are? You don't think that you'll ruin the wedding by showing up, do you? Are you senile or something? Is that why you're so delusional?
Cindy, I think you're being very rude, and I'd like you to stop. I've already talked to John about this, and he wants me to be there for the wedding. I'm his family. I'm his older sister, and I have a right to be there, whether you like it or not.
You really think you have a right to be at the wedding? You must be out of your mind. How do you think this works? You're hilarious. You're an unmarried 30-year-old woman. As far as I'm concerned, you've already lost all your rights.
So you're not going to budge or compromise on this at all? You do realize that you're digging your own grave, right?
There you go again, just talking this nonsense. You really shouldn't forget to take your pills, Grandma. And just what do you know about me, huh? What makes you think that I'm getting into any trouble?
This whole conversation is just getting rather ridiculous for me, Cindy. I don't want to be insulted by you anymore. Let me just say that I am going to be at the wedding, but I am more than happy to avoid you and your friends if you are so concerned that my presence is going to be a problem there.
You really have some audacity to show up to this wedding of youth, don't you? Do you have any idea how much you're embarrassing yourself? I really didn't expect to see your wrinkled face here. I thought I made myself clear the last time we spoke, but I guess I wasn't harsh enough, was I? I should have known that I would have to hammer it into your thick skull over and over again for you to get the message.
You keep mocking my mental capacity, but what about you? Did you suffer a brain injury or something? What on earth allowed you to do such a thing? Why would you behave so horribly?
If you're looking for someone to blame, you should look in the mirror. You brought this on yourself. You knew that I warned you not to come here, and yet you ignored me and showed up anyway. You were practically begging for it.
What are you talking about, Cindy? What did I do that was so wrong? I don't understand at all. All I wanted to do was be there for my little brother on his special day. But instead, you ran up to me and punched me right in the stomach. I felt like I was going to throw up. Did you know that I couldn't catch my breath after that? Why would you attack someone and act so violently on your own wedding day? You're a horrible person. Do you know that? I had no idea that you were capable of such cruelty.
Oh, please, don't make such a fuss over it. I can hardly even hit you that hard. I just wanted to give you a taste of your own medicine for not listening to me when I told you to stay away. If you decided to flee from the venue like a coward, then that's your fault. Don't you dare try to pin this on me. Do you understand?
You still assaulted me. You do realize that that's a crime, don't you? Why would you even want to act that violently at your own wedding? I just can't comprehend it at all.
Oh, please, stop being such a crybaby. I guess I forgot I was dealing with a frail old woman when I hit you. But I told you that this wedding was going to be for young people only, and that you had no business being there.
Can you please just drop this younger than you nonsense? It is seriously irritating, and you've gone way too far with it. I get that when you're young, you might think that you're invincible, and that you can look down on older people. But you are being completely unreasonable and disrespectful now. I have tried to be tolerant with you as my brother's bride, but even I have my limits, and you have definitely crossed them. I mean, the fact that I even have to explain to you that it's wrong to hit people, it's just absurd. You're insane. Do you know that? Why would you do something like this?
Oh, please. How dare you try to lecture me? Just because you're older doesn't mean that you're wiser or smarter than me, or that you have any authority over me. You're just jealous because you're almost 10 years older than your little brother and you're still not married. You were making the whole venue stink like mothballs and old people. That's why I had to come up with something to get you out of there as fast as I could. You are spoiling everything with your terrible oldness.
Okay, this is just ridiculous. I don't have to put up with this. If you're really going to act this way, then I think I'll just go home. You're not worth the trouble at all. Do you realize that?
Well, good. Get out of here. You were never ever welcome here to begin with. I hope you didn't forget your walker or your trip home, you old hag. You've never come back here. You were never ever wanted here in the first place.
I don't even know why you're insisting that this wedding is for young people only. That really doesn't make any sense to our parents all here as well.
Well, of course our parents were going to go home, but only because I gave them special permission and told them it was okay. Something that I specifically didn't say to you, because you didn't deserve any kind of courtesy from me. You're not even part of this family. You're just an unwanted guest who crashed our wedding.
You are seriously just delusional if you think that any of this makes sense, or that this is any way to treat another person, especially your own sister-in-law. I just can't even deal with you anymore. You're beyond reason. So, I'll do as you say and just go home then. But you better know that you're going to regret what you've done to me, and that nothing you are saying is going to change what happens next. You've made a terrible mistake, and you'll pay for it. Don't say that I didn't warn you.
There you go again, with your melted brain ramblings. You really think that you can scare me with your empty threats? You really think that you can do anything to me at all? You're pathetic. The only thing that I regret is not kicking you out of here sooner. I should have tossed you out the moment I laid eyes on you. You're a disgrace to this wedding.
Right then. I guess I'll just be heading off. I've had enough of this from you. You're a horrible woman. You'll make a horrible wife. And I would be surprised if you even made it through to the wedding, because you don't know how to love or respect anyone. You're selfish and cruel, and you'll end up alone and miserable.
Pick up the damn phone right now. Can't you see that I've been calling you non-stop? Why the hell wouldn't you answer your phone? I thought that old people were supposed to love talking on the phone and hated texting. So when you see that you're getting a call from me, you pick it up right away. No questions asked. Got it? Things are going to hell here, and I want an explanation for what's going on.
Oh, are things not going so smoothly for you at your wedding? I'm terribly sorry to hear that. But don't say that I didn't warn you. And you have got to be kidding me if you think that I'd ever want to talk to you on the phone after the way you treated me today. I would rather go deaf.
Please don't be like this. I'm begging you, this is an emergency. Please, you have to help me.
I don't understand what you want me to do now. I did exactly as you said and left your wedding to go home. That is what you wanted me to do, isn't it? You practically threw me out of here.
So then you really did go all the way back home? Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? I need you to get back here to the wedding venue right this second.
You really want me to come back and be at your wedding? Even after you punched me in the stomach? Are you sure about that, Cindy? You must be one of the most selfish women that I have ever met. I don't think I've ever known someone as self-centered and crazy as you are.
Please, Livia, we don't have time for this. Just get back here right now. Things are seriously falling apart, and I really, really need you right now. It's an emergency, okay?
I suppose the emergency is that my brother heard what you did. And that's why the whole wedding is falling apart around you, isn't it? Or maybe he heard about how you wouldn't stop making fun of me and saying all kinds of horrible things to me. But all the while, you had no idea that I was actually the president of the company where John got his job. You really are a moron. Do you know that? You are really stupid for assaulting someone for no reason. But you didn't even realize the mistake you were making.
But how was I supposed to know that you were the president of the company that John got his job offer from? I seriously had no clue what you even did for a living. And John never ever mentioned that he only had his job because of his connection to you. He never told me, so how was I supposed to know? None of this is my fault, but I heard that you told John that you were going to take back your job offer to him, please. You can't do that to him for something that I did. This isn't fair on anyone, right?
And just why isn't it fair for me to do that? I don't want anything to do with a crazy woman like you ever again. You were just horrible, and I want you out of my life as soon as possible. And if I want that to really happen, it means that I have to find every way to cut you out of my life. In this case, that just so happens to include my relationship with John, too. So I just can't let him work in my company, where I would run the risk of running into or even having to hear about you. It was a pretty cut and dry decision to me.
No, that still doesn't make any sense. I mean, why does John have to lose his job just because you don't want to deal with me? Don't you think that's taking things too far?
Sorry, you misunderstand. He's not being fired at all, because he never actually got the job. We only sent him an offer. But there was still a lot of paperwork and formalities in between that and him actually working for me. So I withdrew our offer to him and wished him the best of luck in finding another job. Or rather, I think you would have wished he had more time to find backup jobs. If not for you, I heard that you put most of the work for the wedding planning on him as well. And whenever he said that he wanted to try and focus on job hunting, you would threaten to break up with him. And my brother, being the kind and loyal boy that he is, agreed to go along with the wedding plan so that he didn't disappoint you.
I just wanted a husband who was always going to put me first, and I thought that this would be a good way to test him. I didn't want a husband who didn't even have time for a relationship because he was too busy working, like you. You're always so obsessed with your work and you don't care about anyone else. You're cold and heartless.
Well, you probably could have thought of a better way to go about that. Because if John doesn't have a job, then you're not going to be able to be a housewife like you always wanted to be. You're going to have to work too, and maybe even support him. How do you like that? Does that fit into your plans?
Please, you can't do this. Don't take away your brother's job like this, I beg you. I apologize to you for everything that I've said up until now. I really didn't realize what I was doing at all. I only want to marry your brother. Is that really so bad? Haven't you already done enough to ruin my actual wedding? Can't you just leave things as they are and let John and I get married in peace without any more drama?
Are you really trying to pin all of this on me right now? Let's not forget that you were the one who ran to me and punched me, okay? You overreacted by several miles. And now you're going to try and pin something that is entirely your fault on me. You seriously need to wake up. You need to face the consequences of your actions.
Just shut up, you old hag. You don't know what you're talking about at all. You're ruining my life. You're literally the reason my wedding is falling apart, and you need to do something to fix it. Right now, I'm really serious. You need to give John his job back, and you need to apologize to me.
You can beg and plead all you want, but I am not going to change my mind, and nothing you say is going to change that at all. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go to the police station and file a report against you. So I'll be quite busy with that.
Wait, What? What do you mean? You have to go to the police to file a report against me? What does that even mean?
Well, it means that since you assaulted me, I have the right to report you to the police for what you did to me. Do you understand? I go to the police. I tell them that I've been assaulted. I say that it was you. And then they arrest you and look into the incident. Does that make sense? Do you get it now?
But wait, you can't be serious about this, right? I mean, you're my sister-in-law. I didn't mean for things to happen like this, but please? We're about to be family, so there's no point in doing this. You don't need to go this far, Livia. It was just a little joke, that's all. I didn't mean to hurt you.
It certainly didn't feel like a joke when you punched me in the gut, and I have no intention of forgiving you for what you did to me either. We are going to take this to court and solve this like adults. You're going to pay for what you did to me and to John.
If I admit what I did was wrong, will you drop the charges?
Well, now you're just admitting that the only reason you should apologize would be to get out of trouble. But it's way too late for that.
It's never too late. Don't say that, please. All I want to do is get married. You don't have to do this. I didn't really do anything to you. I just lost my temper for a moment.
I would say that you did more than lose your temper. I mean, you actually hit me.
Well, I guess I did technically hit you, yes.
Well, there you have it. I'm afraid that as long as he's with you, I want nothing to do with my brother either.
Please, I really didn't know anything about this. I had no idea that you were the president of John's company, and I had no idea that you could just take the offer away from him like that.
Well, it's all very true. But even if it wasn't, it still wouldn't make what you did okay in the slightest. Do you realize that? Don't you? Especially after the shock you caused everyone over what you did?
Shock? What do you mean? What did I do? Who did I shock?
Well, all of our relatives there who saw you punched me for one.
But I didn't think that anyone was looking at me when I did that.
You didn't think that people at a wedding weren't staring at the bride the entire time? You really are more stupid than I ever thought possible. You're clueless and reckless. Anyway, bye. In the end, the wedding between John and Cindy turned out to be a disaster, and John decided to break off the engagement. He realized that Cindy was not the woman he thought she was, and that he deserved better. In return, I let him keep his job at my company, since he was not at fault for what happened. I did, however, go through with the police report, and Cindy was arrested for hitting me. She had assaulted me in front of everyone, and I had the bruises to prove it. Even her parents disowned her for what she did and refused to bail her out. She tried to beg me for help, but I blocked her number and never heard from her again. I did hear, however, that the police arrived at the wedding venue and had arrested her in front of everyone. She was handcuffed and taken away, while everyone watched in shock and disgust. It was a fitting end for her.